He said, well, sorry you feel that way, but the next part of this conversation is going to be the hardest. And I thought, what is happening? My heart was racing. My mouth was dry. I was getting let go.
Well, welcome to Hard Reset. And I am super excited about today's episode. We have my friend Jean. She is a 30-year seasoned veteran teacher turned customer care extraordinaire. And I'm super excited about this podcast and hear about her hard reset. Welcome, Jean.
Thank you very much. Thanks
Glad
for
you're
having
here.
me. Yeah.
It
was a long commute.
It was a very long commute. How many stairs?
You know what? I don't count. I usually count stairs. I have never counted those stairs.
Yeah. I have a great question for you.
All right.
I'm going to put you on the spot because I haven't told you what this question is.
Okay.
I would love to know, Jean, your favorite breed of dog.
Oh, by far the golden retriever.
Oh.
Imagine that. I've had 3.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I've had 3. This is our 3rd one.
Name them.
Chase, Buddy, and Jax.
Jax is the one that's with us now? Okay. So you don't mind dog hair all over your house?
I usually have it. It's an accessory.
All over you.
It's an accessory.
That is one of there's a lot of advantages to having dogs like golden retrievers instead of doodles. The downside to a doodle is they're very much expensive. It's like $85 a haircut every 3 weeks.
Well, ours is with the 70-pound golden retriever. Ours is about 100. Not every. Ours is every couple of months.
Okay. Yeah. So, but we also don't shed a lot.
I know. That would be kind of nice not to have any shedding. But
all right. So, everyone is dying to know, how do we know each other?
all right. Well, I know you through teaching with Tracy, your wife. I don't even remember how long it's been, actually. When did she, do you remember when she was done teaching?
Yeah, she started teaching in 2005. She got her job.
And then she taught for how long?
2012 or 13, I think.
Okay. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
I've been done teaching for the past 3 years.
Okay.
So went back. Actually, I remember us having a baby shower for the twins.
Wow.
At our school. And you were probably there. I'm most certain you were there.
Yeah, I was told to come at the end to help with the presents.
I think that probably is
teachers,
when you were there.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how I know Tracy. That's how I know you. And funny thing, your mom did one of our women's retreats long ago. And I think when I told her that I knew Tracy, she kept referring to Tracy in some stories, but she would look at me, and my friends kept asking, why does she keep calling you Tracy? Because she'd be like, Tracy, and whatever. So I know your mom, kind of know your mom. But yeah.
How many retreats?
I honestly think she just did one.
Oh, wow. And it made that impact on you.
Yep.
Shout out to the Reverend Dr. Ellen Shepherd.
There you go. That's right.
Yeah.
Be great to cross paths again.
Yeah. We'll make sure she comes up here on a Friday.
There you go.
To hang out with us. All right. 60 seconds or less. Tell me what it was like growing up as a kid and like what you wanted to be.
I played school a lot. I would lay papers down on the floor in rows. And I guess I was really kind of upset that people always got my maiden name wrong. So it's Gausser, but it's spelled Gasser.
Gasser.
So I'd always get that.
Yeah.
So in my heart of hearts, which I can't believe I did this, I would intentionally, my students would be like friends' names.
For sure.
And I would probably mispronounce a name or two.
Yeah,
when
like
I was
Aaron.
calling me. Yes. D-nice. Yes, exactly. So I don't know. I guess that's where that teaching bug came from.
Yeah.
My grandmother was a teacher, but I didn't really know her. So I don't know. It just kind of came upon, and that was what I did
Okay.
from
So
there on out.
all right. So you started doing that after high school. You go where?
I went to Purdue University.
Okay. Shout out to the Boilermakers.
You betcha. Yep. And then we moved, I got married, and then my husband and I moved to Atlanta in 1991.
Wow. Okay. In the 90s.
Yeah.
Let's go back to Purdue though. What was your education degree at Purdue?
Well, funny, my freshman year, I went to the complete rival of Indiana University.
Ooh,
I never
Hoosiers.
thought I would ever wear black and gold. How awful.
Yeah.
Red and white was the way to go.
Of course.
Well, a year later, and a boyfriend that I had been dating, he was at Purdue, and my roommate and I decided after our freshman year, her boyfriend was at Purdue, we would both transfer to Purdue.
No way.
Yes way. And lo and behold, that didn't work out.
The
Which was
boyfriend
good.
or the Purdue?
Oh no, the boyfriend, which is completely fine. And then at University Bookstore, I met this gentleman named Brett. We also happened to have a family and children services class together. And he always says the labs were the best. I said, okay, whatever. So that's how we met at the bookstore at
And
Purdue.
what did you get your degree in at Purdue?
Elementary education.
Oh, okay. So you were like fast
Right
tracking
Right on.
elementary school. What did Brett major in?
He was the bigger double E, electrical engineering.
So he's super smart.
He is. But he's not nerdy like a lot of engineers.
Yeah.
Sorry, might be. Sorry. No, he's on that sales side, so he's really good at talking to people. Yep.
I love it. All right. So now it's the 90s and you're in Atlanta and you just become a teacher?
I just decided I would apply down here. And when I got, Fulton County said, hey, we want you. And I said, all right. And I drove down past the airport for
No
2
way.
weeks for pre-planning and the first week of school.
Hapeville?
College Park.
College Park?
Yep, down there. And no, I guess it was. It was down past the airport then.
Okay.
So it must have been, I don't remember what it was. Anyway, and they knew, they did the whole like, hey, somebody's transferring here. So then that kind of bumps you lowest in seniority. They knew at the time I lived at Holcomb Bridge, and Medlock Bridge was adding a new first grade class.
Yep.
And so that's where I went.
That was your first year?
That was my first year teaching.
How long were you at?
I was at Medlock probably about, I don't know exactly how long I was there. I started at Shea Crag in 1997.
Okay.
So it must have been,
So 6 years, so
Yep,
97.
6 years there.
And that's where you met Tracy, was Shea Crag. So did you finish out your career pretty much?
Well, I think that's kind of where my hard reset comes in.
Okay.
Thinking about, I was at year 28 and a half, and COVID had hit. We were just coming back to school. Some kids were still on, learning from home. Some were at school. I think this was in January of 21. And one of my paraprofessionals had ended up getting COVID. So he's teaching from home, in-person kids who are in my class. And I'm teaching in-person kids and kids that are online.
Wow.
So we had a lot of, going back and forth, and a computer here and a computer there, and, make sure you're listening to so-and-so. So he was out for a little bit. Another special ed teacher thought it would be humorous to take some pictures to let him know things hadn't changed, and we missed him. And the pictures ended up surfacing through word of mouth that she had taken them. And she had also texted myself and my paraprofessional. We immediately were like, what the heck?
Why are you sending me these? Yeah.
Deleted them, immediately deleted them. And it got around that she had taken these pictures and someone went to admin and decided to report it. So myself and this paraprofessional were called in on all of, to tell about what had happened, to explain why we thought she might have taken these, what we did with them. Was there any intent in, hurting kids or showing them or putting them online or anything like that? And there wasn't. I mean, it was just, I guess to her, it was funny. They were the backsides of kids. Haha, we miss you. Things haven't changed around here, to my paraprofessional. So, we start getting questioned, and, the next thing
And you didn't send the message, you just received the message.
And apparently I did not, I am a mandated reporter, and I did not report immediately. I guess they considered it child abuse.
Wow.
Because that's what we're trained on. We're trained at the beginning of the year. We sign, a piece of paper that we've been through this training. And if we notice anything, that we're to report it right away. Well,
you didn't think anything of it.
I didn't think anything of it. I just was like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah,
I don't want these on my phone. Just get them off my phone.
Yeah.
So I think maybe, I don't know, a week went by. My paraprofessional's still at home. He never came back to school.
Wow.
And I was called down to the principal's office.
I've been there many a times.
Yeah, I've been there to have conversations, but not necessarily been called down.
Yeah, mine were all trouble.
Yeah, well, sorry about that. So yeah, I really honestly thought it was just to talk about this situation again. And it was in the first half. And so then the hard reset started, and the HR guy says...
The HR guy's in the office?
On the phone. Myself and our principal, who wasn't very personable.
So you're in the... I'm just trying to get a grip.
Picture it.
Yeah, picture it. So like you're in the office with your principal, and he has called in to...
It's been planned, that we would all be there together.
Okay.
Yeah. And I got a little, curious as far as like, why is this HR guy on the phone? HR only comes in when,
training or.
Exactly. So, after I explained, kind of the story and everything, he said, do you have any kids? And I said, I do. I have two. I said, I have a daughter and a son. And he said, well, if someone were to take a photo of your daughter and send it to someone else, would you be upset? And I said, yes, I would probably be upset, but would I consider it child abuse? No, unless I had found out that they, intentionally were going to do something with it. And he said, well, sorry you feel that way. But the next part of this conversation is going to be the hardest. And I thought, what is happening? My heart was racing.
Yeah.
My mouth was dry. I was getting let go.
After 28
and a half years. I was just going to make it to 30.
Yeah.
Then they could be done with me. To both of us, my paraprofessional and myself. So,
and you didn't send the picture. Someone just happened.
I didn't show it to anybody. I didn't send a picture to anybody. We just received it and deleted it.
And so you were open and honest when someone came to you and was just like, hey, this is, we heard that maybe someone shared a picture with you, but it's not like you talked.
So did they share it with you? Those were questions. Did they, share the photos with you? Yes. What did you do with them? Deleted them. What were they of? Like a butt crack or, whatever, backside, couple kids. You didn't think that the other teacher had, any intent of putting these online or, anything like that. And I said, not at all. I said, to me, she was a 20-year veteran of Fulton County. She loved the kids as much as I did. And it was just kind of one of those,
Yeah. Okay, so we're on the phone and like everything is spiraling, right?
Yeah.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry that happened. That sounds just miserable. Do you remember like the entire conversation, or did you just kind of black it out? Like,
I am most certain I began crying.
yeah.
I can't remember exactly what he had said other than you were being let go. I remember my principal just sitting there, silent, complete silent. I didn't know it. I didn't know what was going. I was like, "What are you doing?" And so
Help me.
Yeah.
You're my leader.
Nope. And come to find out, she had mentioned to me that, is there anything? This was after the conversation. Is there anything I can do? I kind of looked at her and I was like, well, it would have been nice to have some, support, some backup. And she said, well, I like my job. And I said, oh, okay. So she said, what can I help you with the rest of the afternoon? We're done with the conversation. I am in complete tears. I'm just like hyperventilating. I don't know what's going on.
28 and a half years of your life you have devoted to kids and
I didn't
loving
have
them
a chance to, say anything. There were some other things that were going on in Fulton County at the time. With the, I don't remember what he was. He was a bigwig though. And there were some things that were going on with him and some investigations. And I think they said
Zero tolerance.
From here on out, zero tolerance. And we just happened to be the next lucky ones. So zero tolerance. What can I do for you? And I'm like, well, I'm not going to be able to go to my next class.
Sure.
I'm like, I'm a mess. I'm a complete mess. Kind of what I thought might be in this conversation. And she said, oh, well, you don't need to go to that class. I'm going to walk you down to your room and then I'll walk you out the building. And I was like, you're going to what? So sure enough, kind of like I was going to take something or do something or, whatever. So she walked me down. I grabbed my computer case because that's what I did when I left my room. And I said, well, I guess this is yours now. Gave her the computer case. She took my computer and we walked down the hallway and right past the front office and out the door.
No way. And that was your last,
That was it.
No way. 28 and a half years devoted your life to kids.
That was
Somebody sends you a message and you are terminated because you didn't tell someone about a text message. I think about all
that was considered child abuse.
Sure.
Which, it was, I look back at this, the after fact, I just had gotten the PAGE, Professional Association of Georgia Educators, had just gotten coverage on that, thank goodness, and had a fantastic lawyer assigned to me. And he worked with me, and we got to the point of, you're probably not going to get a job with Fulton County again. And I said, that is fine.
Especially because they didn't even have your back in this
I was going to call it, in a year and a half, I was going to call it anyway. But it ended up being more of I don't know if it was called like a warning. But on my teaching certificate, if anybody were to go look at it, there would be an exclusionary statement that would say, there was something that happened and, might have to question this person. So that was when the carpet was really just kind of pulled out.
Yeah. What was the car ride like?
Ooh. Well, here it comes.
No, sorry.
I called my husband, and he was in the midst of looking for a job. Had been unemployed for a bit, and he was just getting ready to get on the computer or on the online or whatever it was, a Zoom call or something for an interview, and he couldn't talk. And so I called a girlfriend of mine, and she said, I'm going to stay on the phone with you until you get home.
Great friend.
Great friend. And so, yeah, then I get home and spill it all to Brett and, whatnot, and got right online with Paige and got right on, hooked up with a lawyer and talked to the people at TRS for retirement to find out how much time I had and could I use any of that time, to build that year and a half. And luckily enough, I had enough time that I hadn't taken that allowed me to reach that 30-year mark. Yeah. So praise be to God in that.
Praise God for sure.
But yeah, it was one of those where you go, wait a second, what just happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I go a year later. No, I think I did a long-term special ed paraprofessional stint. And then I worked at a private school in Alpharetta for 2 years. But, when you fill out an application, it says, have you ever been, dismissed or let go from a job or whatever? And I'm like, well, I don't want to put that down there. So I said to the administrators, I, really would like to talk with you prior to turning in this application. And I had to tell them this story. And, of course, I'm in tears and whatnot. But they got it. They knew that there wasn't anything that was done incorrectly. That there was any way that I could,
There's no malice, no
nothing,
bad intention.
no bad intentions at all. So there were good things that happened. On the flip side, it just took a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think that brings us naturally to this question is like, since that moment where like you're on a call and you're talking to a telephone and you got your principal, your leader, and they're just like, hey,
I got nothing for you.
Yeah, we got nothing for you.
Yep.
And then you call your person and he's already on a call, and then you call your friend. And so like, what's life been like since that moment of like the hard reset of like, I was forced into this reset. Looking back now at that moment, what would you say your life is like?
Wow. Completely different. And I am so happy. So I'd like to tell Fulton County, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you for, all my time that got me to that 30 years and, all of that. I don't want anything to do with that anymore, but completely different. I taught for another 2 years. There was a little kind of, I don't know, friction at the end of that. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm probably done teaching. I think I'm going to be done teaching. So for about 9 months, I did what I wanted to do.
Sounds amazing.
I watched dogs. I worked at a friend's flower truck. I worked for an a company that does organizing in homes. I have 2 care receivers that I see, one young lady who's 27 and autistic, and another lovely lady who's 92. What else did I do? I did some tutoring, but I had my own schedule.
Yeah.
And it was fabulous. It was great. So why am I not doing that now?
Yeah. That leads us to
that only brings in so much income. I wouldn't consider myself a retiring age yet. Still got a lot of life and, want to do things and everything. So looking at the, income that was coming in, it wasn't really a steady income.
Sure.
And I came across this company, this husband and wife that were sitting on a couch and they were looking for an office administrator, someone to come in, someone to be, present in the office, someone that can answer phones and, kind of has a disposition that, can really talk to anybody. And I thought, I'm going to reach out to Tracy. She has not heard from me in so long, but I messaged her so quickly.
Yeah.
And I said, I would love to be considered for this. And I think I did like a secret, drive by,
No, I remember,
to see where the place was. I thought one of the roof consultants was you. So of course I stopped, in the parking lot as he's leaving. And I'm like, hey, are you Martin? He's like, no, I'm Wyatt. And I was like, oh, well, y'all have beards. So, anyway, yeah. And then I think from there, it's been great. I have a purpose. I get up. I am interacting with people each day. I have zero stress.
Oh,
and it is fantastic. So, yeah, something that horrible happened.
Yeah.
That I'm going to put my boots on and I'm going to work through this. And I had so much support from family and friends, and I just kept going. And I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to try this, and I'm going to try that. And so, yeah, it's great. Life is great right now.
Yeah. It's funny, like looking back on that moment to where you are now, it's like when God puts us in those paths of destruction, like I have so many hard resets that have happened in my life, but it's like, I don't see the good in this. I don't see the God in this.
No,
like
it was big and foggy for a long time.
And,
but yeah, y'all look back now and I think, you know what? I was supposed to be done.
mm-hmm.
I wouldn't have chosen that way. But I got an opportunity to spend great time with other more middle school age children with the autistic population, which I love. And then I decided, I think I'm done with this like typical classroom setting, and I want to do things that I've always wanted to do.
I have the utmost respect. Well, not only because I married a teacher, but I have just the utmost respect for people that devote themselves to their craft and being a teacher and teaching people to learn. Like I can sit here and name like the teachers that have influenced me 41 years old, like that were 30 years ago and 15. So it's like, it's disheartening to think about the corporateness of the decision that they made of someone that devoted 28 and a half years of their life to loving kids and taking care of kids. And then because of something out of your control that maybe like you should or shouldn't have, or even thought of, they just let you go. And that's just sad. And,
there were 4 of us that were all let go. And I will tell you, the other teacher who initiated all of this, I knew she was devastated, knowing that she had...
Oh, I didn't even think about her.
Devastated knowing that she had wrecked 3 other people in the process. But I decided... I can't remember how long it was, but I decided I was going to reach out to her husband. He said she was really, really struggling. And so I said, I think I'm going to come over. And so I went over, and it was the first time she had seen me. And
no way.
She just apologized up one side and down the other. I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, you did something that really wrecked not just yours, but, another 3 people. Yeah.
Did it bring closure?
It was cleansing for me. Yeah. And I know it was good for her to be able to see that I was going to be okay.
Yeah.
So she's teaching again. My paraprofessional's teaching again. I didn't bring up the PE teacher, but he's teaching again.
Okay.
He was just told about the photos.
Yeah.
And I'm here, loving life.
Yeah. Well, that just brings me back to this question, right? Is like, now that you're 2 years or, longer than 2 years removed from the situation, right? But now that you're removed from the situation, looking back, what do you wish you would have known in that moment? What do you wish like someone would have told you that was maybe going through the same thing that you went through or had gone through? What do you wish they would have grabbed you and said, "Hey, Jean"?
I didn't know that the photos, someone would consider those a form of child abuse. I wish someone would have said, "Hey, any picture you get, let somebody know." I guess that's what I would do to someone now. The school I went to, funny thing is, the school I went to after that, that's all they wanted you to do was take pictures. Like, so we could post them and, the parents could see. And I was like, oh no, I don't take pictures of kids.
I have a flip phone
I
now.
don't do anything like that. So what would I tell somebody? I probably would say, whatever happens, there's going to be another door that opens. I don't know what I would tell somebody in that same situation at that same time. I don't know. Maybe be bold, be confident in yourself. I just crumbled. So I think that probably stick up for yourself. I didn't really see that was going to help at all. But I guess looking back at it now, I would probably say to someone, as abruptly as something might happen, and as horrible and your life is over,
For sure.
you think it's over, there is always something that's going to come along and it's going to open up new doors. And I didn't ever think that during that time. But gosh, I think one time you had told us, or we watched a clip that said you live life forward, but you learn about it looking back.
Yep.
And we're not in control.
Yeah.
We are not in control. So I just, I had to pray a lot about it. I had to figure out who I was and what I was going to do. And I probably would just tell somebody, "Hey, let me help you.
Yeah.
Let me help you get through it. What are some things you like to do and not like to do?"
Yeah. One day at a time. Yeah.
One day at a time.
Well, I'm sorry that this happened, but I'm also,
and people will say that.
yeah.
There's no reason, it's a hard thing to hear. And that's a common thing.
Sure.
So sorry to hear that, whatever. That's all right. I'm good.
Yeah.
Even though
Yeah. Well, the part two of that,
I am good.
yeah. The part two of that is like, hey, I'm sorry that this happened, but like, praise God that it did happen,
Yes.
right? And it brought you to this moment
Yes.
today. Because so
Yes.
much in like the failures of our lives of like, you're fired and like you learn about the people
Yes.
that you thought cared about you. And like,
Yeah.
you learned in that
Yeah.
reset that,
Yeah.
hey, like, I know who my people are now,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. And I
you
know who
learn
they're
so
not.
much
Yeah.
about who you are and yourself,
Yeah.
all that. So
Yeah.
I'm grateful
That was good.
for your
Thank you.
time
Yeah.
and the opportunity to share your story.
Thank you for letting me share it.
I think this is going to help a lot of people, even, with people going through hard things. So
Yeah.
I appreciate you making the time.
Thank you. You'll make it through. Find somebody that can be a rock. Find a bunch of people that can be a rock. But
Yeah.
find people who are like you that can help you through those hard times. And just encourage you to keep on going.
Yeah. And if your husband has a Zoom call, just don't take the Zoom call. Right?
We needed that job though. We needed that job. So I knew it. Yeah. I mean, that sounds kind of, kind of sounds bad. Like, hey, you're crying, I can't, but I've got this interview, like 5 minutes. I'm supposed to be on this call.
Yeah.
We needed the job. Yeah. And so I look back at that. I can't even remember if he got it or not, but I look back at that. And I'm like, that was important.
Sure.
So here we were both unemployed, but it all worked out.
Yeah.
He's got a great job. I've got a great job. Thanks to the Shepherd family and Reset Roofing.
Thanks to you. The queen of snacks at Reset Roofing.
Well, I'd hope a little bit more about that, but
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome. No problem.
Wow. Well, thanks to Jean for letting us know a little bit about her story. I think I learned a lot in this, but one of the most important things I think I took away from this hard reset that she had was like learning who's in your corner and who your people are. I hope that I'm the friend where if they call their spouse and their spouse isn't available, I hope I'm that person that someone's going to call and say, hey, it's hitting the fan and I need you and I want to be that friend. So hopefully you have that friend and we'll see you on the next one.